There was a man who worked as a beekeeper. The man's name was Adam Clay. It turned out that Adam Clay was a former special agent in an organization called the Beekeeper. The Beekeeper was a secret agent created by the government. The Beekeeper has the task of solving cases outside of law enforcement. Adam Clay was the best agent while still working as an agent at the Beekeeper, but Clay decided to retire early and become a beekeeper. One morning, Adam came out of the farm warehouse and met a woman named Mrs. Parker. Adam Clay apparently rented his beekeeping warehouse to Mrs. Parker until now. Meanwhile, Mrs. Parker was the chairman of the charity donation for underprivileged children. When Adam Clay met Mrs. Parker, he thanked her for allowing him to rent her warehouse. Adam seemed very fond of Mrs. Parker because Adam had considered her like his mother. Shortly after, Mrs. Parker, who was at home, returned to work with her laptop. Unfortunately, her laptop was affected by a virus. Then a warning appeared for Mrs. Parker to call the number on the notification. Mrs. Parker, who panicked, then decided to call the number. A few seconds later, Mrs. Parker's phone was connected to an antivirus company. During the call, Mrs. Parker asked why her laptop had a virus, even though she had an antivirus subscription to protect her laptop. Hearing that information, the manager of the antivirus company named Garnett apologized to Mrs. Parker and said that the system was having problems. Therefore, Garnett intended to compensate her because Mrs. Parker's files would be permanently deleted. He said that he would give Mrs. Parker some money as a sign of apology. Then, Garnett asked for Mrs. Parker's account number because Garnett would transfer the compensation money. At that time, the innocent Mrs. Parker gave her account number and instantly the $50,000 from Garnett was transferred into Mrs. Parker's account. Shortly after Garnett contacted Mrs. Parker a second time, he told Mrs. Parker that he had actually only transferred $500. Therefore, Garnett asked Mrs. Parker to send the rest of the money. Right now, Mrs. Parker, who felt sorry for Garnett, accessed for savings through her laptop to transfer the remaining money from Garnett. But when Mrs. Parker entered her account password instantly, all the money in it, amounting to $2 million, disappeared. Seeing that much money disappear in an instant, Mrs. Parker was distressed that the money was not hers but belonged to the charity. On the other hand, Carpet and his partners celebrated success in their office because they managed to take the $2 million that was in Mrs. Parker's account. Garnett turned out to be an online scammer under the guise of an antivirus company. Then the scene moved to Adam Clay, who was processing his bees into pure honey. Once he succeeded in making pure honey, Clay headed to Mrs. Parker's house with the aim of giving her a jar of homemade honey. But when Adam arrived in front of Mrs. Parker's house, Adam saw that the house was quiet and dark. Therefore, Adam decided to go in anyway. However, Adam was shocked to find Mrs. Parker sitting on the sofa in a state of death due to suicide. In the midst of Adam's confused situation, a woman pointed a gun at Adam's back. The woman was Mrs. Parker's daughter named Verona. It was revealed that Verona worked as a member of the FBI, so Verona, who saw Adam enter her mother's house, considered him as the person who had killed Mrs. Parker. Verona immediately arrested Adam on the spot. A few minutes later, the police and the FBI came to Mrs. Parker's house to process the crime scene. Adam was automatically made a suspect because there was only Adam in the house. A moment later, Verona checked her mother's laptop. Verona realized that her mother had just been cheated out of millions of dollars. In the end, Verona was able to conclude that her mother committed suicide because all of her savings were lost to scammers. The next day, Adam was found not guilty of Mrs. Parker's death, so Adam went free and decided to return to his beekeeping warehouse. Shortly after Adam arrived, Verona came to Adam. She apologized to him for accusing Adam of being the killer of Verona's mother. Verona then told him about the problem that caused Mrs. Parker to commit suicide. Verona, who was still sad, said that her mother was deceived by a company under the guise of an antivirus company. Verona also said that it turned out that the antivirus company had long been a target of the FBI, but unfortunately they couldn't act yet because the director of the FBI didn't give them any permission. Hearing Verona's explanation, Adam could only remain silent and say he was sorry for Mrs. Parker's death. After that, Adam contacted his former co-worker at the Beekeeper. Adam asked for her help to track down the antivirus company in the city, apparently without Verona's or anyone else's notice. Adam planned to eliminate the people who caused Mrs. Parker's death. Adam chose to do this because he considered Mrs. Parker like his own mother. It didn't take long for Adam's coworker to find the address of the antivirus company that deceived Mrs. Parker, and she told Adam about it. On that day, Adam went straight to the antivirus company with 2 jerry cans of gasoline. At first, Adam was confronted by 2 guards, but Adam was easily able to paralyze the guards. After that, Adam casually entered the antivirus company and beat one of the employees. Then Adam warned them all to stop deceiving others. While Adam poured 2 jerry cans of gasoline, Adam told them all to leave if they didn't want to die stupidly here. At the same time, Adam noticed Garnett, who was the manager of the antivirus company, and some of his bodyguards came to see Adam. Garnett tried to ask Adam to stop the action, however. Adam, who heard that, immediately beat his bodyguards brutally, after he managed to make Garnett's bodyguards helpless. Adam told Garnett to leave the antivirus company if he wanted to survive. Apart from pouring gasoline, Adam also placed several bombs in the building. So when Adam got out of there, an explosion happened. On the other hand, there was a man who was the owner of the antivirus company named Derek. At that time, Dyer had just received news from Garnett about his company being burned down by a man who claimed to be a beekeeper. Hearing the bad news, Derek felt angry and upset. He ordered Garnett to hire hitman to finish off the beekeeper, Adam. The next day, Adam took care of his beekeepers in a field. When Adam left the bees, Garnett arrived with the hitman he had hired. They casually destroyed Adam's beehive by shooting several times. Then Garnett immediately followed Adam's car. He wanted to finish Adam off as soon as possible without Garnett realizing it. Adam had already realized that Garnett was following him, so Adam deliberately led them to his beekeeping warehouse. When Adam arrived, he immediately prepared to fight Garnett's hitman. They attacked Adam with 100 of shots, but Adam was easily able to defeat them all. Adam, who was unarmed, easily attacked them all until they were helpless. After that, Adam decided to torture Garnett instead of just killing him. Adam wanted to make Garnett feel deterrent. After being satisfied torturing Garnett, Adam left the beekeeping warehouse. On the other hand, Verona, who was working, got the news that her mother's warehouse was burned down. Hearing about this news, Verona immediately rushed to her mother's place. When Verona arrived there, she saw several burnt bodies of him in. In addition, Verona found an ID card belonging to Garnett, who was the manager of an antivirus company. Seeing this evidence, Verona concluded that Garnett and his men burned down Verona's mother's warehouse. Later, Verona realized that there was only Adam in the warehouse, so Verona thought that the incident was connected to Adam the beekeeper. On a road, Garnett, who managed to escape from Adam's beekeeping warehouse, was spotted. When Garnett felt the situation was safe, he directly contacted Derek. Garnett said that Adam was too strong for them to fight. Garnett sadly said that the hitman he hired had been finished off by Adam. Carpet even lost some of his fingers due to Adam torturing him. Derek, who heard the story from Garnett, was immediately angry. He told Garnett to find out who Adam really was. Before Garnett answered Derek's order, Garnett realized that Adam came over to him to beat Karn. It turned out that Adam had been following Garnett's car secretly. Then Adam tied Garnett's body and hooked it to Adam's car. Adam then started the car without getting into it. He deliberately did that because he wanted to kill Garnett by throwing Garnett into the sea. The whole incident was heard clearly in Derek's ears through the phone that was still connected. Then Adam said that the next target was Derek. At the FBI field office in Boston, there was Verona, who was looking for data on who Adam really was. However, after searching for a long time for Roman, didn't find the data she wanted, which was the data about Adam. Not long after, Verona found out that the FBI had found Garnett's body tied to Adam's car. Hearing the news from her colleague, Veranda was even more convinced that all of this was connected to Adam. The scene moved Tor, who was anxious and telling his father about what happened to his antivirus company. It was discovered Thatchrek's father was the chief director of the FBI. This prevented the FBI from taking action against Derek's antivirus company. Apart from his father, who was someone very influential to the FBI, also got a protector. His mother, who was the recently elected president of America. Obviously, Derek's influential parents make him become invulnerable to the law and do as he wish. A while later, Derek's mother, or President Danforth, contacted Derek's father. She asked about the problems her son was having. Then Derek's father explained that Derek was having problems because there was a beekeeper named Adam Clay who was hunting Derek. Hearing that, Derek's mother asked her husband to provide extremely strong protection for their son with the power Derek's father had. He was able to contact the beekeeper's chief agent named Janet Hayward and ask about Adam Clay. She replied that she knew Adam Clay, but Adam Clay was known to be retired. Hearing that Adam Clay was retired, Derek's father ordered the Beekeeper's chief agent to mobilize all of the Beekeeper's agents to kill Adam Clay. He said that the order was given directly by the president, Derek's mother. In the end, the Beekeeper's chief agent mobilized his members to hunt down Adam Clay. Later that night, Adam, who was filling gas, was suddenly attacked by one of the Beekeeper's female agents, but Adam fought the agent quickly. The fight between Adam and the Beekeeper's agent took quite a long time. Fortunately, Adam managed to defeat the woman by burning her alive. Then Adam casually left the gas station on fire. A few moments later, the chief director of the FBI contacted Director Janet Hayward. Derek's father then told Janet that Adam was still alive. Therefore, he asked Janet to send the Beekeeper's best agents to kill Adam Clay. However, Janet said that none of the Beekeeper's other members wanted to fight Adam Clay because they felt that Adam was no match for them. Hearing an explanation from Director Janet Harwood, Derek's father decided to hire mercenaries instead. A short while later, Derek's father went to the group of mercenaries he had hired before sending them away. Derek's father explained that Adam Clay was a former member of the Beekeeper, and so they had to be careful in order to kill Adam Clay. After hearing that, the mercenaries immediately searched for Adam's whereabouts because they thought that Adam's abilities were no more than theirs. Meanwhile, Adam went to the residence of the Beekeeper's agent, who attacked him last night. Adam immediately entered and turned on the computer. There, he tried to track down Derek's whereabouts as well as his father's. Without taking a long time, Adam Clay managed to find Derek's location. After finding Derek's location, Adam planned to go to Derek and his father in the trading company building owned by Derek. It turned out that the business was just a disguise because Derek's business was an online fraud business. Outside the building, there were many FBI members guarding on his father's orders. Not long after, Adam came along who casually searched for and his father's whereabouts. Adam went to the building because the location on the computer said that Derek was at his trading company building. At first, Adam beat up the guards outside. With his extraordinary martial arts skills, Adam was able to easily defeat the FBI agents on guard. Once he defeated the FBI agents, Adam then entered the building and headed upstairs to meet Derek and his father. Inside the building, there were still many mercenaries and FBI agents, so there was a fight between Adam and Derek's fathers, hired mercenaries, and also the FBI agents. At first, Adam was quite overwhelmed because he was alone. While there were many opponents, but with good tactics, Adam Clay was able to defeat them all even though it took a long time. Then Adam immediately met the manager of the trading business. Adam asked about Derek's whereabouts and also his father. Unfortunately, the manager didn't answer Adam's questions, knowing that Adam chose to torture the man so that he would give the information. Hearing an explanation from Director Janet Harwood, Derek's father decided to hire mercenaries instead. A short while later, Derek's father went to the group of mercenaries he had hired before sending them away. Derek's father explained that Adam Clay was a former member of the Beekeeper, and so they had to be careful in order to kill Adam Clay. After hearing that, the mercenaries immediately searched for Adam's whereabouts because they thought that Adam's abilities were no more than theirs. Meanwhile, Adam went to the residence of the Beekeeper's agent, who attacked him last night. Adam immediately entered and turned on the computer. There, he tried to track down Derek's whereabouts as well as his father's. Without taking a long time, Adam Clay managed to find Derek's location. After finding Derek's location, Adam planned to go to Derek and his father in the trading company building owned by Derek. It turned out that the business was just a disguise because Derek's business was an online fraud business. Outside the building, there were many FBI members guarding on his father's orders. Not long after, Adam came along who casually searched for and his father's whereabouts. Adam went to the building because the location on the computer said that Derek was at his trading company building. At first, Adam beat up the guards outside. With his extraordinary martial arts skills, Adam was able to easily defeat the FBI agents on guard. Once he defeated the FBI agents, Adam then entered the building and headed upstairs to meet Derek and his father. Inside the building, there were still many mercenaries and FBI agents, so there was a fight between Adam and Derek's fathers, hired mercenaries, and also the FBI agents. At first, Adam was quite overwhelmed because he was alone. While there were many opponents, but with good tactics, Adam Clay was able to defeat them all even though it took a long time. Then Adam immediately met the manager of the trading business. Adam asked about Derek's whereabouts and also his father. Unfortunately, the manager didn't answer Adam's questions, knowing that Adam chose to torture the man so that he would give the information. After torturing the man for a while, he finally told Adam the wreck and his father were at his mother's house, who was the new president. At the same time, Verona suddenly arrived with other FBI agents to arrest Adam. Luckily, Adam knew of Verona's arrival so he could escape as soon as possible. On the other hand, Derek and his father were at President Denfer's house. Then Derek's father got the news that all the mercenaries he worked for had been beaten to death by Adam, knowing that Derek's father asked Derek not to go anywhere. Meanwhile, he ordered all the remaining FBI members to protect Derek. The scene switched to Verona, who was having a meeting with her FBI colleagues. During the meeting, Verona said that Adam was the one who had wreaked the chaos these past few days. However, Verona sided with Adam because Adam had indirectly killed the people who had caused her mother to die. Verona also found out that the online-fronted company belongs to Derek, who was the son of the president and also the chief director of the FBI. Meanwhile, Derek's father hired several mercenaries to protect Derek. Even though outside the house was heavily guarded by FBI members, the father was still wary because he already knew Adam's skills. In the meantime, Adam tried to enter the president's house through a culvert. Then Adam hanged under the guard's car and disguised himself as an Fiat agent so that he could enter casually. After that, Adam placed several bombs outside the president's house. Then Adam quickly changes from the FBI uniform to a suit inside the room. The president was seen scolding Derek because she just knew that her son had been an online fraudster all along. Derek's mother, who was the president, felt very ashamed of Derek's crime because if other countries found out, her reputation as president would definitely be ruined. However, Derek replied casually that he had been doing this business for a long time. Even the campaign cost for his mother to become president also came from the money from fraud. At the same time, Adam managed to enter the president's house casually. Apart from Adam, it was also Verona and other FBI members. There, Verona accidentally saw Adam. She was worried that Adam would attack the president suddenly, therefore, Verona mobilized the FBI team to arrest Adam. This caused a long chase between Adam, Clay, and the FBI team. In the end, Adam was cornered. Then Derek's father asked his team to immediately finish Adam off. But suddenly Adam detonated the bombs he had installed until there was an explosion. Due to the explosion, Adam had the opportunity to finish off everyone outside. Then he went back into the president's house. Inside the house, Adam had to face the guards again. Adam shot, hit, and also dropped the guards quickly. On one occasion, Adam had to deal with a hitman who worked for Derek's father who looked quite strong and powerful. After a long fight, Adam managed to defeat the man. Then Adam planned to enter the president's room to find Derek. However, at the door, Adam was stopped by Derek's father, who intended to bribe Adam with whatever money Adam wanted. But Adam, who was not tempted by the offer, squeezed Derek's father's hand, which caused him pain. At the same time, the president or Derek's mother wanted to announce to the public that her son had deceived many people, but Derek, who didn't accept it, chose to shoot his mother's assistant. Shortly thereafter, Adam entered the room and pointed a gun at Derek, seeing that Derek, who felt cornered, immediately took his mother or the president as hostage and told Adam to back off. At the same time, Verona came and tried to break up Adam and Derek. Adam questioned if Verona was working for whom, working for the corrupt government or for justice. Then suddenly the shot hit Derek's, so he had to die right then and there. Adam then escaped through a window that was directly connected to the beach. Verona, who saw that, allowed Adam to leave because she knew that Adam was innocent and only eliminated criminals who were invulnerable to the law. Then Adam immediately escaped by sea because now all the criminals who caused Mrs. Parker to die had been eliminated.